I think I've learned that I'll never really be where I think I should be because I have really big dreams. And not to say that they're impractical or that I won't reach them, but I think I'm learning that it's more important to just go with the flow of life and not rush to say the least. So this is what this video is all about, and hopefully we can remind each other of the life that we share together and its impermanence and how amazing it is to be alive, and also just to vibe, okay? Because it's beautiful. So yeah. Just taking that breath and feeling my being like settle in. It feels really good. So I just cleaned and I like filmed the whole bunch of me cleaning because I thought like, oh, I'm gonna like edit this into a video, and maybe I will later to a more refined, faster video. But I guess I wanted to just stream my consciousness with this idea of taking it slow. This idea of really allowing yourself the time, just the opportunity to explore time without strings attached, without feeling like you have to do something to get closer to your manifestation, which, trust me, if it's meant for you, you will have it. Rest assured, and do due diligence. But yeah, I wanted to share a little story about what I realized. Like, this is a realization that's still pretty recent to me, and it's the idea that I just did not I just felt behind in life. I remember at work, at school, at just my goals and manifestations, I just really felt like behind is the best way I can put it. I just felt like this is I just not I don't have enough time, I'm not doing enough, I'm like, this is where I want to be, this is where I'm at, and it's there's like this gap. And I felt really empty. Just because I could never satisfy the idea of where I felt I should be. No matter how many blessings were presenting themselves in each moment. The like the sunlight, touching the skin, and fresh air, and being able to breathe in that fresh air, and the beautiful plants and people, and just the peace. I felt really restless. I felt like, and many times I cried because I just felt so behind. And so many times, what's up, Jamin? I would write down in my journal, like, I don't know why, I just feel behind. I feel behind. I don't think I'll ever catch up. I don't know how to catch. It's just like this perpetual feeling of like I'll never reach where I need to go. That it's already too late. And it felt very bad. It made, knots in the stomach, and just like a very low feeling of like, oh no. I'm too behind. I won't be able to actually get to where I need to go. And this feeling, it stuck with me for years. And I just couldn't shake it. And of course this feeling has helped push me a lot, like, oh, it's pushed me to do things. It's pushed me to sometimes be very quick, and just act on impulse, and sometimes that really does pay out. But other times, when you try to rush things because you're feeling like you're going late, and I'll use this example of yesterday. I was running not late for work yet, but I knew that if I didn't run to work, I wouldn't make it there in time. So I started running. I started just, booking it. Guys, I had tea in one hand. I broke my favorite tea canister the other day, and I was really sad actually on my way to work the other day. So I had a different teacup, but this one doesn't close all the way, so I'm spilling tea on myself. I'm running, and I get like 4 blocks down. I turn a street and I realize that where's my phone? It's not in my pockets, and my phone fell out of my pockets. And I didn't know what time it was, so I didn't have my phone, so I turned around to go find my phone. And I'm happy I did, because it was just in the middle of the road, lying there face up. Thank God it was okay. But I ended up being twice as late. If I just walked, I probably would have been like 1.5 minutes late versus like the 5 minutes it took to run there and run back. So I guess in the bigger scheme of things, it was okay, guys. It was okay, alright? But in the big scheme of things, I think this is a perfect analogy of why it's important to take it slow. And you could look at like the hare and the tortoise, right? The hare or the rabbit was like, oh, I totally can beat you in a race, and then like the tortoise is like, bet, and they start, tortoise takes off, realizes that the tortoise is the rabbit takes off, tortoise is like, taking their time, and because they were going so fast, they felt like, oh, I'm just gonna take a break right before the finish line, and I'll wake up when they're right there, and I'll pass. And of course they didn't wake up before the tortoise passed the finish line. And I think that is another just a beautiful like little story. The moral of the story is that slow and steady wins the race, right? And so I think we all want our manifestations to come. We live in a world where instant gratification is such a great marketing tool to get people to do one thing or the other. And it's not as fulfilling, I'm finding, than actually taking it easy and taking it slow and stopping and smelling the roses and looking at the world that we are in. Like, oh my goodness. So yeah, so I had to go get my phone, and I realized that if I just walked again, it would have. So this brings me back to this idea of manifestations, right? Like, I always like wrote down kind of like time stamp in like, but in 3 months, in 6 months, in 9 months, in 12 months, and I totally think that's great, but I'm finding that it's more important to focus on feelings, entirely feelings, than material objects and possessions and things that you want to have within a certain time frame, which there is a purpose, and sometimes it's great to have a clear purpose and to set that deadline and do that goal. But a lot of the times when it comes to manifesting things on our mission, I'm finding it so valuable and beautiful to just kind of let it unravel as it should, and to be with every moment. And this goes back to the idea of diligence. And I've been, and I will continue to be obsessed with this idea for the rest of the year of how can I become more diligent with my time, my energy, my money, my relationships, my resources, everything, because I think that it's something worthy of investing time, understanding more. And there's a Bible verse. Man, I think it was Psalms, maybe like 34. I'm gonna have to look. I'm gonna have to. Alright, guys, I'm not the best at remembering books and names and stuff like that, but it pretty much said it's foolish to be hasty, and it will leave you wanting, and a diligent man knows to to use the time that they have wisely. And and so it really hit me, like that really hit me, and I was like, okay, just don't rush things, you know, don't try to rush your manifestations, don't try to rush where you are in life, you know. Sometimes it sucks, and I've talked to friends and people, and they're like, my life sucks and I'm trying to manifest the fastest ticket out of here. And hey, maybe that for you, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to manifest the fastest ticket, and then it will work out for you. But sometimes there's lessons to be learned in those experiences that you don't yet fully grasp, or there's something that you don't realize at the time that you're taking for granted that maybe you need to be aware of in order to move forward. So when you really give yourself permission to live a timeless life, and for me, that's what really taking it slow or slow living is. It's when you no longer live by the bounds of society's clock, I guess. What's up, Nathan? So I guess I'm a New Yorker, right? Yeah. And we was talking to some people today, and we were just joking about how our slow pace is sometimes other people's like fast pace, because just everybody is going all the time. Like nobody really stops. If you see somebody stopping in the city, you're probably thinking they're checked out, like they're a crackhead. Like you don't really see you don't see people just stop, right? You don't see them stop to look at everything. If you see that, like, you know, somebody's like, hey, we're walking here. Like, it's just something that I personally don't really see that much of, especially in the city. But it's so valuable. It's so important. So back to this idea of slow living. And what's up, Vigil? Okay, you can send instructions into the simulacrum, the subconscious. All that you need is confidence, positive belief that you will attain what you desire, fact or fiction, and it will manifest. Absolutely. And I think that I've seen a lot in the spiritual community sometimes, like, people are obsessed with getting their manifestations as fast as possible, and it's like, what are you gonna do after you get your manifestation? Probably manifest more and more and more and more and more. And will you ever actually feel whole and happy with what you have? Like, are you going to continuously feel like you need more? But I love what you said, Vigil, because I think that that idea of confidence is something that, and positive belief, tying that into a sense of wholeness is really nice. But I'm learning, like, I guess, geez, man. Like, for 3 years, I've been pushing this manifestation in my mind of something like, oh, I'm gonna, like, help heal the world somehow and spread good vibes. Right? Good vibe, that's, like, what... And a part of me got, like, super frustrated, like, I was feeling behind. I was like, man, I'm just not where I thought I would be, quite honestly. And it was something that made me feel really upset, like, oh man, I'm falling behind. But honestly, in hindsight, I look at all the experiences I've had and I'm amazed. Like, let me tell you, if I didn't, if the manifestations that I know are in my heart and that are growing didn't take their time to really mature, and they just popped out like that, I don't think I'd be able to handle what I asked for, quite frankly. I do not think I'd be equipped. I think it would just crumble. It would not have a foundation to grow and be supported in my life. It would just crumble. And knowing this now, I think it gives me even more, like, respect and appreciation for where I am in the journey without feeling behind. And Jesus Christ. God is good, because this was something I really struggled with. I don't think I was that vocal on it, like, with this channel and stuff, but your girl really struggled with feeling behind in life. Like, she's not where she wants to be. And just having this realization of what will I do when I have what I have, you know, when I have what I've been wanting for so long, it struck me, and I was like, this is kind of like this is a life journey. Like this is your life's mission is a life journey. It's not like one thing you do and you check off the box and you're like, nice, I can relax now. You're gonna feel super empty trying to relax, or at least I feel like I would. And so, yeah, it's just given me an appreciation. Yeah, Nathan, that's an interesting question. I think that yeah, I think that there's a lot of different kinds of marriage. Between the body and the soul, between God and man, yeah, between flowers even. Yeah, I think so. I would like to say I believe in marriage. And again, like you, I mean, even with marriage, sometimes it's interesting because I've seen like uh friends getting arranged marriages, and those are generally pretty fast. But then you live, with that person, for the rest of your life. So I guess you can take the other part of, deeply getting to know them maybe slower. And for some people, they take their relationship slow. At the end of the day, we're only alive for so long, and none of us knows when our last day here on earth is going to be. And so I think this is the importance of taking life slow. It's realizing that there's such a beautiful, like, valuable potential in every moment that is irreplaceable, that you can only get in this moment right now. And, like, this moment right now, there will never be another moment like this. Ever. 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 This possibility that we're in, it is entirely and totally unique. And it just went. Isn't that beautiful? And we got to experience it. And so I guess that's the beauty in taking life slow, because you kind of, if you were to take it fast, I feel like you would find yourself grasping on really tightly to certain moments because everything else went by so fast, and then you find something and you hold on and it'd be hard to let go. But when you take it slow, I feel like it will be easier to let go when the time comes because you've actually fully embraced that moment. You deserve it. Don't even think otherwise. You can strive for more, but it should come from genuine curiosity and, in my opinion, harmony with nature. Vigil, that's wonderful. And I 100% agree. I think the key is the harmony with nature, right? It's realizing that a tree does, most trees, some species do shoot right up. But most trees and most plants and most things in the world, like, they go at such a wonderful pace. And I wouldn't even call it slow, because to be honest, some plants be just sprouting out. Like, look at my plant here. Used to be like a foot tall. Now he's like 4 feet. No, that's an exaggeration. He's like 3 feet tall, and I love him, and it's great, and he keeps growing, and it's very cool. And I don't notice like the new leaves are shooting out and that it continues to grow. I don't like notice this until like a few weeks or months later, and I'm like, whoa, it's like big. But yeah, like this is a beauty. um so yeah, I think that being able to live in harmony with nature allows our manifestations to come more harmoniously, because we ourselves are not trying to rush or force anything. And in doing that process of just rushing or trying to get things to move, we find ourselves then maybe not feeling as full, I would say, at the end of the day, if we do get our manifestations. So yeah, it's a life lesson in general. Most people learn in general, but some quicker than others. That's why older people have more patience. And personally, even for yourself. That's awesome, Nathan. I love plants too, Vigil. Oh my goodness, you're in a competition with yourself to make a better garden each year? That's wonderful. I got some, like, wildflower seeds of native plants, like 30 different kinds, and I'm trying to think of the best way to like uh play with them. I'm thinking of just seed bombing my sister's lawn, but we'll see. Yeah, I think that plants can teach us a lot, and for me they've taught me that you don't have to rush or doubt that the manifestations and what I feel like I'm here to do isn't happening, because it absolutely is. But there's no need for me to push to do extra in order to feel like it's gonna come faster. That will be more effective. For me, slow living is kind of like a form of meditation. I think that when you really effectively live a life, which maybe slow isn't the right word, but we're using that right now. When you effectively live harmoniously with nature, you are like eternally meditating, right? Like, what's up, HK? It's just like you are so present with every single moment that it just becomes this like delightful experience to be in, you know? It's amazing. Write down your goals, absolutely. And like what you want to achieve most. That's really good, Nathan. I like to write them on my mirror. I have like a mirror over on the side and have another mirror here with some affirmations, and I like that just because, you know, I look at the mirror, I see myself, and it's like I'm telling myself this, you know? So it, that's been helping a lot. I would say that, yeah, when you set that goal, you plant the seed, and then you allow yourself to just go with the flow. Like, sometimes listen, I'm super productive. You know, I cleaned my room today. I got to like weed out and free a couple trees, and that was wonderful. I went to the store to get some stuff that I'm gonna make little paper flowers for Valentine's Day. I'm gonna go paint the mirror, clean the bathroom, wash my hair. Like, I'm feeling productive today. But sometimes I don't really feel productive. I feel tired and I want to rest and I just want to like lay down. And I think that in taking it slow and in this idea of like slow living, it's given me the opportunity to go with like the ebbs and flows and not entirely like lose myself in feeling like, woo, great, we're having like a productive day, we're doing everything, and then like afterwards feel super bad for like not doing stuff. It's like, okay, there is a time and a place for everything under the sun. And right now it's time for rest, and later it's time for work. Or vice versa. Oh man, wow, companion planting guides help with where to take the place and seed in relation to each other, considering which layer of the forest they fall into. This is good. Visual is giving me some very nice information. Oh my goodness, yeah. And I think that, okay, with the idea of seeds and planting, again, like I just see goals. When we write down goals, those are seeds that we're planting in our minds and our hearts to grow, and we can't really rush that process. Like, you, to an extent, you can do certain things that will help accelerate it, of course, but you most likely can't just do your goal in a day, or it wouldn't be a goal. I would say it would just be like a task. um so yeah, it's important to enjoy the process, because yeah, I think I'm here to remind you that if you're watching this, that you will achieve your goals or manifestations, what you're wanting to grow in your life. But you also need to remember that it's not going to maybe come as fast as you would like it to, and that's totally okay. And to enjoy the process, because one day you might look back and actually miss where you were. And I think that's where I'm kind of at. That, like, sure, not everything is perfect, and there's still a lot of things that are kind of working, but I am so thankful for where I am. And I know that this will not last forever, that one day my loved ones may die before me, and I will You know, maybe some of the other things I've taken for granted, like that I, you know, don't really think about, may no longer be there. I mean, sure, maybe I'll have my manifestation and I'll be at another point of life where I feel like I've accomplished something cool, but I might miss some things from this timeline that we're currently in. So, you know, it's kind of like when you look back, if you're like a 90s kids, do you miss like waking up and watching cartoons in the morning? Like the simpler days, I guess you could say. I think that's the importance of taking things slow. Really, you know, just so that we can allow ourselves the beautiful opportunity to be present with where we're at. And I just feel like we went through a little time we went through a little time jump right there. We did. And that's beautiful. I'm conscious for that one. That's great. Um but yeah. So taking it slow is important. It is meditative because you realize again you're in sync with the natural world that you are part of. And more importantly, you take each moment and you like really juice the ripeness of the moment, like is the best way I can say it. You just taste being alive. It's like, mwah. Nathan, I am not vegan, though I am plant-based. I've learned to kind of balance my diet in a compassionate way, I guess is how I will say it. um yeah, I I eat mostly plants, but you know, every now and then I will have a piece of meat. That's usually not alone, but like in some other dish, and I don't complain. Yeah, I feel like it's closest thing to how our ancestors lived, and I'll honor that. Like I want to have a farm and I want to have chickens, and I feel like I'll probably eat eggs from the chickens just because they're gonna be laying a lot of eggs. And if the chicken, you know, gets to the point where they gotta be put down, then, you know, I'll put them down. But at the same time, this is a beautiful thing about taking it slow, even with the food that you eat. Like, let's think about fast food for a second. Now, we all know fast food's not good for you for various reasons. And so, when we think about slow living, the opposite of fast food is actually sourcing your ingredients and preparing a meal for yourself or your loved ones. And it takes a lot more time than going to a McDonald's drive-thru does and ordering a Big Mac. It does. So I can speak from experience. Right? I think, yeah. So like, yeah, like Rastas, yeah, exactly. So so in this concept, it's like cooking is so meditative when you are just present and you know that the intention is I'm creating something to nourish my body, nourish, you know, my loved ones. And it's going to be, you know, made with such intention and awareness. It's beautiful. And not only that, you also learn a skill, like a very important survival skill of cooking, of how to prepare food. And you get this quality time with the ingredients. You deepen your relationship with every ingredient that you prepare. Like if you've never cut a potato before, then you don't know that maybe the texture of a potato or how to properly prepare it for whatever dish you're making. But the more you work with that ingredient, the deeper your relationship goes. You know how to use flour. You know every single ingredient. It is like chemistry, right? They all have a different way that you can use them to create, you know, chemical reaction of deliciousness. Yum. Yo, I love food. And yes, visual, it is. So thankful for sustenance. Chew each food thoroughly. Yes! Like, literally, I think that slow living is just a very good way to live because it does not cost you anything but your own time. And let's be real. You. Like, let's be real. I know some of you be on your phones, okay? And I be on my phone too sometimes more than I should, alright? Then I feel like I gotta rush. We cutting that out little by little. We chipping it away because we're just naturally spending more time doing things that bring us more joy and sustenance, and then we just naturally don't have enough time to do the more things that aren't actually helping us and draining our time. So you always have the time that you need to do the things that you want to do. Yeah, food is amazing. Making your own meals is amazing, and I think a beautiful form of slow living, because you're just, yeah, anybody else have any any lifestyle routine habits that they do that they consider to be a part of slow living? I would say waking up in the morning and meditating is another beautiful form of slow living. Even if it's, again, for 5 minutes. I guess when I think of slow living, I don't really think about time that much. It's almost like time is a secondary thing that doesn't really matter, because when you're taking things slow, you're like syncing up with the harmony of the universe, and so everything just naturally falls into place and you just have enough time to do what you need to do. Like, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird how that works out. Kind of crazy, all right? And again, some people, they say, "Oh, I don't have time to meditate," and I'm like, bro, you can always wake up 10 minutes earlier. Listen, I do. When I wake up 10 minutes earlier, I may fall asleep sitting up, but that's my form of meditation. Even when I was, working as a swim instructor and I had to wake up really early and had an all day shift, during my 15-minute break, I would meditate for 10 minutes and I would feel so refreshed. All of a sudden, time would stretch, and that time, 10 minutes, would feel like an hour. And I just, like, my head would be so clear and I'd feel so focused and I would be like, this is amazing. So yeah, when you eat better, everything else falls into place naturally. You're more calm, present, disciplined. Yeah, they all kind of fall into each other. Like, they're also connected, everything, right? And as an artist, when you rush, the end results end up looking sloppy. So that can be tied into slow living, taking it slow. I like that a lot. I love that. I've actually been getting into the habit of painting when I wake up in the morning instead of consuming. For me, this is an act of slow living because it's allowing my body for this moment of like silence and reflection when I wake up, where I can just kind of like paint a little pasture, paint some flowers, and I don't have to worry that much about what it looks like. I just enjoy the process. Like, that is so beautiful. Like, the times where I just get lost in the process of painting, those are the pieces that I love the most. And not because of the composition, it's just because you can tell that time was put into this. I'm not just somebody that, like you were saying, Visual, is rushing. They're actually attentively just present with what they're doing. And I think that's really, like, again, slow living is being present with what you are doing in life. It's being present with how you're living life and what you're doing in the moment. So I'm learning how to, do some more slow living, just taking it slow, and especially with the family and loved ones, especially with them. I think that a part of me knows that my loved ones are going to die, and I don't know when, and I would like to say that I've enjoyed and really gotten the most out of every moment with them. So the idea of slow living for me when it comes to that is, if we have dinner together, it's being present with them, as feeling, just, listening to how their day was. I think that these little things are the beauty of slow living. Like, my sister came to visit, drop off her laundry, and just in like she had like 3 minutes before she had to go get the train, and those 3 minutes were just kind of just in the presence of each other, not really doing anything, just knowing, okay, in a few moments we will have to go, but right now we're just present, we're just with each other, and we can take a moment to acknowledge that. It's pretty beautiful, and I think that I want to do that more with friends as well. I love doing it in the Discord with the Good Vibes Delivery fam. I'm learning to be more present. There was a time where I was like, guys, I gotta go, and I'm learning that that honestly was just not in the spirit of slow living. Sure, yeah, your girl gets tired sometimes and a little cranky, and it is important to be aware of where I'm at in the moment. But I genuinely love having spaces where I can just be present with people. So, yeah, that's a beautiful part of slow living. I believe that so for me, Nathan, when it comes to astrology and star signs, I guess I've had a feeling of like the strings within myself and how they're connected to this to the to the everything, all particles of life. And yeah, I think that I love CoStar. It's a great app if you guys haven't heard of it. It's just like such a cute little astrology app that gives you the temperature and the time and just a little adorable quote, and shares some stuff about the transits going and how it applies to you. And I just love how it's designed, and the message. It's a, such a beautiful little app. But yeah, so I think for me, again with the idea of slow living, is realizing, like, how many astrologers out there be like, yo, we have another once in a lifetime transit and it's happening tonight. You know how many times I've heard that? Many times, and they're right. Like, they don't need to hype it up. Like, they're right. Like, things are happening, incomprehensible things are happening in the universe right now, and with our energy and on the world, right? And they're happening right now in this moment. The transits and everything. Again, it is so entirely unique to our experience. Like, that is amazing. And I think the more that we can allow ourselves to be present with just the awareness of how unique and potent this moment is, the more that potency and the possibilities within the moment open themselves up for you. So slow living, man, it's beautiful. Oh my goodness. mm. And also, the beauty of simplicity. I think that's another thing that has helped me with slow living. I am somebody that gets maybe a little bit analytical in the mind, and I strategize a lot, and I can get lost in the sauce. And so for me, slow living has helped me simplify a lot of things. Say if it's not something right now, don't really think about it. Okay, and that's okay. When I wear it like that could, could be a double-edged sword. But I guess in a better way to put that is that it's forced me to just use what I have in this moment, instead of thinking about the past and the future and everything else like that. Just like focus on what I can do in this moment, and be aware of the potential that the moment holds, and simplifying it as much as possible. Like, how can I put this? Even the way I communicate, I've been trying to simplify it, mostly so that it is clearer and understood by more people. And, I don't have to explain myself a million times. So, a part of simple living has been listening to people, and then seeing how I can simplify and share back. phenomena is real, it's measured, but personalized horoscopes that are tied to us are, yeah, they kind of do mislead. Yeah, yeah. Mm. I'm so happy. Yeah, I love that you know are we're all divinely synced in this moment, and that we're able to take a moment to realize that yeah, we're on the path for slow living. I think like guys, this is gonna be crazy, but one of the biggest visions I had when I was younger and just started to tap more into realizing what I wanted to do with my life was literally just being really present, cutting up vegetables to make a meal for my loved ones. Like, this is one of the first visions I had, and one of the first things that I knew I wanted to manifest. And thankfully, I get to do this quite often. um, but yeah, and in what fascinated me about this vision was just how present I was with the vegetables. Like, I could feel them, and I could like just feel the knife gliding through them, and the sound that the knife was making on the cutting board as I was cutting them. Like, these were all things that I was just very aware of, and I just very much enjoyed. And that, like, that was it. And I think, you know, I kind of got lost in the sauce upon entering the spiritual community and hearing all this stuff and thinking about, whoa, what should I manifest now? And I guess I'm again going back to a simpler, what do I actually really want in life? What do I want to experience? And that's it. So yeah, that is the life. That, you know, live your life, be present, be aware, and know that everything is pretty clear and it is pretty simple. You don't have to complicate it, and you can live a slow life and you can enjoy where you are. Stop and smell the roses, and slow and steady wins the race. So, yeah, kudos to you for living a slow life. I hope that this will inspire you all to just take your time with whatever you're doing in the days to come this year, and just ground into this presence, knowing that you are gonna be okay with whatever life throws your way. All right, thank you so much for watching. God bless and enjoy the rest of your day. Namaste.